Night settled gently over the quiet hills and valleys of ancient Israel. The last golden traces of daylight slowly faded from the horizon, replaced by deepening blues and soft, silvery shadows stretching across the earth. Outside the distant villages, the world was hushed, but not silent. The earth itself seemed to exhale, releasing the warmth of the day in calm, cool breaths that swept across the landscape. Fields rested under the tender care of the moon, their rows of barley and wheat swaying just slightly, stirred by a breeze that seemed to carry ancient whispers. Olive trees, strong and steadfast, stood on the edges of the low stone terraces, their twisted branches calmly outlined by the starlight above. Far away, the faint outline of a shepherd's flock could be seen nestled together, the gentle sound of goats and sheep blending with the quiet chorus of insects as they sang softly to the night. Above, the heavens opened wide and clear, painted with countless stars shimmering in tranquil harmony. Each star pulsed softly, like tiny lanterns set in velvet, unhurried and steadfast in their nighttime vigil. The air was fresh and carried the sweet, almost earthy scent of wild thyme and dry grass, mingling together in a gentle invitation to rest. Somewhere in the distance, the low call of an owl echoed along the hills, and the wind rustled lightly through reeds growing near a wandering brook. The world felt vast but close, a place filled with ancient rhythms and unspoken peace. This clear, sacred stillness was like a great, warm cloak wrapped around the land, a moment in time where worries faded and only breath, earth, and sky remained. Under this star-showered canopy, hope and promise softly settled over every stone, every leaf, and every traveler resting beneath the endless, watchful sky. Along a winding path worn smooth by the feet of many travelers, Jacob walked quietly beneath the endless sky. The road stretched before him, a simple thread in the great tapestry of the land, reaching across rolling hills and through low valleys covered with wild grasses. The evening was soft and cool, and Jacob's footsteps sounded gentle on the earth, unhurried and steady. He was young, yet the journey weighed on him more with each passing mile. His sandaled feet had felt the dust of many days, climbing over stones and pressing through narrow spaces shaped by ancient hands. Every so often he would pause to listen to the gentle rustle of olive leaves or the distant bleat of a lamb, finding comfort in these small reminders that he was not alone in this vast landscape. He wore a simple tunic, woven by careful hands at home, its fabric scented faintly of sun and fresh air. Upon his back he carried a bundle, bread wrapped in cloth, a skin of water, and memories of a family he loved but had left behind for a while. As Jacob moved through the hush of twilight, thoughts of home flickered in his mind like the first stars above. He wondered where the path would take him, moving onwards because he felt he must, whispered onward by hopes, by longing, by a quiet faith that somewhere ahead lay a place of rest and welcome. Each night, as the darkness gathered, Jacob dreamed of safety, a place warm and sheltered where he could lay his head and trust in sleep. Tonight, the road showed no sign of a village or a friendly gate. It was only the open country, wide and patient, watching over him with untamed grace. Yet, in his heart, he carried a gentle hope that even in this unfamiliar land, he was cradled by something greater than himself. So he walked onward, step by step, guided by faith and the gentle glow of the sky, searching for that quiet place where his journey, for a moment, could pause and his spirit could rest. As Jacob pressed forward, the long journey's weariness settled deep within his bones. His legs ached with every step, muscles stretched and tired from days of walking beneath the shifting sky. The soles of his sandals were thin, their leather softened by use and the dusty paths, leaving his feet tender and sore. Every now and then, Jacob would slow and lean against a smooth stone or the trunk of a gnarled olive tree, resting just for a moment, eyes closing as the gentle breeze brushed his face. He listened to the soft heartbeat of the earth and the distant sounds of night, hoping for some relief from the ache within him. In the quiet, his mind wandered to the warmth of his family's tent, where laughter and company had lightened his hardest days. The echo of loving voices and familiar faces lingered in his heart, both comforting and distant, their memory a balm and a longing at once. With each mile, Jacob's desire for rest grew stronger. He yearned for a quiet patch of ground where he could finally lay down, loosen the pack from his shoulders, and let his guard fall away. The stars above blinked down, ancient and watchful, and he wondered if they saw the weight he carried, invisible yet heavy. Every gentle gust of wind seemed to whisper an invitation, to find peace beneath the ever-caring sky, to pause and become still. Jacob felt the limits of his strength and knew the wisdom of slowing down. Even as his body cried out for sleep, his spirit clung to hope, a trust that soon he would find a place where tiredness could loosen its grip and dreams could enter gently. The quietness of the land and the calm of night pressed around him, comforting but also pressing him onward, a gentle promise that the time for rest was near. With every step, Jacob's longing for sleep became a silent prayer, softly spoken by his heart into the vast and tender night. As darkness settled softly around him, Jacob's searching eyes found a large, smooth stone resting among the low grasses by the path. The stone was heavy, rounded by the passage of many seasons, and seemed sturdy enough to bear the dreams of a weary traveler. With a quiet sigh, Jacob knelt down and brushed away bits of dry grass and small twigs, making a small nest for himself in the earth's gentle curve. He set the stone nearby, choosing it as a resting place for his head, just as so many before him had chosen simple comforts along lonely roads. The ground here felt firm and steady, the coolness of the stone promising relief from the warmth that still lingered in the air. Jacob gently unrolled his cloak, shaking it free of dust, and spread it out across the earth. He folded another cloth and placed it beside the stone, creating a cushion to ease his tired body. Small, thoughtful movements, arranging his bundle, smoothing the ground, and making a shelter with what little he had, became a quiet ritual, connecting him to all those who had paused and rested in the embrace of the open land. The night pressed close, cool and kind, as Jacob made himself as comfortable as he could. The world around him was silent, except for the occasional hush of wind through wild grass and the distant call of a night-bird. He nestled against the stone, letting its simple strength become his pillow, and covered himself lightly with his cloak, drawing warmth and comfort from its soft, familiar folds. The steady earth cradled him from below, the wide sky wrapped all around, and the gentle sounds of nature offered a lullaby written just for him. With his bundle safely tucked beside him and his sandals set aside, Jacob allowed the tiredness to settle into every part of him. The day's worries grew faint as his body relaxed, tension loosening with each slow breath. The world felt safe and gentle in this quiet moment, as if the cares of his journey had drifted away on the same soft wind that cooled his face. For the first time in many nights, Jacob truly felt a sense of peace as he closed his eyes, trusting the earth, the sky, and the silence to hold him until morning. Jacob lay down slowly upon the cool ground, settling himself into the gentle hollow he had made beside the sturdy stone. The earth beneath him was smooth and firm, sending a quiet chill through his tired bones, a welcome relief after the heat and dust of his long walk. He shifted his weight gently, careful not to disturb the perfect stillness that wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. The soft rustle of grass cushioned his limbs, and the silence of the night pressed close, a deep, reassuring calm that seemed to hush even his wandering thoughts. The worries and longings that had chased him through the day drifted away, their edges softened by the gentle touch of darkness and the wide spread of stars overhead. The night air settled lightly on his skin, cool and fragrant, carrying with it the faint scents of wild herbs and turned soil. Jacob closed his eyes, listening as his own breathing slowed, soft and steady, blending quietly with the pulse of the resting land. All around him, the world felt peaceful and whole, as if time itself had paused to give him a moment of deep rest. The sky above stretched wide and endless, stars scattered in quiet patterns as faithful and gentle as old songs. Every sound was softened, every shadow kind, nothing hurried, Nothing called. Even the breeze moved softly now, barely more than a whisper, stirring the leaves and grasses with a caress that soothed the spirit. For a while, Jacob simply let himself be part of this great, silent night. He felt the strength of the stone at his head, the gentle weight of his cloak pulled around his shoulders, and the soft, living hush of the earth beneath him. It was a peace that came not from comfort or plentiful things, but from belonging, in this place, under this sky, quietly watched over by the goodness woven into the fabric of the world. In the calm, Jacob surrendered his tiredness and his hopes to the darkness and the stars, letting the silence carry him gently toward rest. As Jacob lay quietly in the shelter of the night, a gentle awareness began to fill his heart. In the soft darkness, surrounded by the silent hills and the watchful sky, he felt a sense of quiet wonder slowly blooming inside him. Though his journey had carried him away from familiar voices and the comfort of loved ones, he did not feel truly alone. There was something in the stillness, an unseen presence that tipped the night with gentle possibility. The cool air felt thick with meaning, as if each breath he drew was filled with hope and soft reminders that each life, even in solitude, is seen and valued. The silence spoke to him, not of emptiness, but of a deeper connection that reached far beyond words. Jacob's thoughts drifted gently, sensing that the world was wider and grander than all his questions or his quiet moments of loneliness. The hush was not total. It was woven with the sense of something close and kind, a hidden care that watched over him as he rested. In this peaceful space, Jacob wondered if others before him had felt this same quiet closeness, lying under the ancient sky with dreams and fears mingling in their hearts. Perhaps the land itself held the memory of many travelers. Their hopes and prayers settled like dew upon the grass, their longing for home and blessing echoing in the night. Here, in the safe cradle of darkness, Jacob sensed that his journey was more than wandering from one place to another. It was a slow unfolding, watched over by something deeper, a loving watchfulness that held even the most weary soul. He felt comfort in knowing that he was part of a story far larger than himself, a story sung by the wind through the olive trees, whispered by stars, and held gently in the palm of the night. Soothed by this mysterious presence, Jacob welcomed a rest that touched both body and soul. Even as sleep drew close, he carried the assurance that, even when alone, a gentle care enfolded him, guiding his steps and gracing his simple moments with quiet wonder. As Jacob slipped deeper into sleep, the gentle sounds of the night faded into a peaceful hush, and a dream began to take shape in the quietness of his mind. At first it was simply a soft glow that filled the air, warmer and brighter than moonlight, wrapping his weary heart in comfort and stillness. In this dream, the world felt safe and gentle, held together by an unseen hand. As the calm deepened, Jacob saw before him an image unlike any he had ever imagined, a ladder rising from the very ground where he lay, stretching upward in silent majesty. The ladder grew taller and taller, reaching through the cool darkness, climbing far beyond the highest trees, past the roll of distant hills, and up into the deep and shimmering sky. Each rung was clear and gentle, as if fashioned from the morning sun and the softest light of the stars. The vision felt both wondrous and peaceful, perfectly at home amid the quiet beauty of the night. Jacob watched quietly from his resting place, feeling no fear, only a slow swelling of awe and peace. The ladder seemed to join the earth and the heavens, a bridge between the familiar soil that touched his cheek and the endless sky he had admired so often on his journeys. The dream was gentle, flowing smoothly like the breeze that had lulled him to rest. There was no rush, just the steady, reassuring rise of the ladder step by step, building a path that reached far beyond what Jacob could see or understand. In this vision, he sensed that something unseen and loving was being revealed to him in a language made of beauty and calm. Here, in the hush of his sleep, Jacob felt cradled by a mystery, one that made even the quietest moment glow with hope and meaning. The ladder's presence became a soft promise, woven into his spirit, that the weary earth and the high heaven were somehow beautifully linked in ways he could only begin to dream. In the calm wonder of his dream, Jacob gazed at the shining ladder that rose before him. So clear, so strong, yet so wonderfully gentle in its presence. It reached from the familiar earth, where his journey had brought him, all the way to the endless heights above. This ladder did not seem to belong to builders or travelers. It was made of light and hope, crafted from something far deeper than stone or wood. Each rung was soft and glowing, yet steady and sure, a path that seemed to say, "Here you can climb, step by step, though you may never know all its heights." It stood quietly as a bridge, joining two worlds, the land where Jacob walked and slept, and the silent, watching sky. In its quiet message, the ladder spoke of comfort, connection, and a gentle welcoming, as if every thread of Jacob's story, even the most hidden and tired, might one day find its way upward into something greater. Jacob felt a new stillness fill him as he watched, his heart stirred by a deep sense of belonging and peace. This ladder reminded him that the life he lived, the steps he took across dusty roads, the stones beneath his head, and even the times when he felt utterly alone, were all touched by something more. He sensed that this was not just a dream for him alone, but a message handed down through centuries, that the earth, with all its struggles, was never cut off from the loving care above. The ladder was a sign of quiet promise, a gentle assurance that no ground was too rough, no night too long, for the touch of heaven to reach down in kindness. In the shimmering glow, Jacob understood, even without words, that the space between here and the heights above was not empty but full of care, a promise-keeping watch as faithful as the stars. As Jacob rested in his dream, the gentle light around the ladder brightened softly, never harsh, but always kind. He watched as figures dressed in robes of light began to move upon the ladder, gliding with grace and quiet purpose. These were angels, silent messengers of peace, ascending and descending, their presence as calm and gentle as the first rays of dawn. Each step they took was sure and smooth, as if they were following a rhythm as old as the stars, moving between earth and heaven without hurry or noise. Their faces were peaceful, shining with a joy that asked for nothing and gave only comfort. The gentle rustle of their robes seemed to mix with the night air, a sound as soft and soothing as wind through olive leaves. As they moved, they carried a calmness that settled over Jacob's heart, filling him with a warmth that reached deep into his spirit. There was no confusion or restlessness in their coming and going. Every angel moved in perfect order, their presence a song of quiet trust and devotion. They rose from the ground, stepping upward into the wide, shimmering sky, while others descended gently, returning to the earth below with hands open in blessing. They traveled both ways, a sign that the distance between the world above and the world below was not far, but gently connected by care and kindness. Watching them, Jacob saw that this movement was filled with peace, a healing, hopeful exchange between heaven and earth, unbroken and everlasting. In the stillness of his dream, the angels' movements brought a sense of safety and belonging, as if the whole world, seen and unseen, was watched over and loved. Their presence was quiet assurance that, no matter where Jacob's journey led, kindness and hope traveled beside him, carried gently on steps of light. As Jacob watched the angels moving gently along the glowing ladder, he felt a quiet change in the air, a warmth and peace that filled the very space around him. This presence was unlike anything he had known before, soft yet strong, invisible yet deeply real. It was as if the night itself leaned close, wrapping him in a gentle embrace that lifted the weight from his tired body and soothed every troubled thought. The light around him was not just from the ladder, but seemed to flow from an unseen kindness, draping the earth in a calm that spoke of love deeper than all words. In his heart, Jacob felt settled and safe, as if he belonged to something far greater than the road he had traveled or the dreams he had held. The world, once wide and uncertain, now felt close and caring. Each blade of grass, each stone and star, touched by a watchful goodness. Within this peaceful glow, Jacob's spirit quieted, and a deep trust began to take root inside him. It felt as though every breath he drew was shared with this divine presence, every hope and longing answered by gentle assurance. Unhurried, he rested in the wonder of what he saw, letting the peace gently soothe every fear and soften every memory of loneliness. The angels moved in their silent procession, and Jacob sensed that he was not forgotten or overlooked. Instead, he felt held and noticed, cherished in a way that required nothing but stillness and quiet faith. The presence around him was steady, familiar, like the songs of his childhood, like the sunlight over green fields or the evening breeze after a long, warm day. Here, in the heart of his dream, Jacob was surrounded by a care that was ancient and new, powerful and gentle, a presence that would walk with him, always, through dreams and through waking. Into the quiet glow of the dream, a voice began to speak, gentle, calm, and filled with an unmistakable kindness that settled deeper than the wind itself. Jacob felt the words not only in his ears but in his very soul, every syllable sinking softly like warm rain into the waiting earth. The voice carried not a command or a heavy rule, but a deep blessing. Words woven with care and great promise. "Jacob," it said, "know that you are not alone on this path. Wherever you go, my eyes are on you, and my hand is near. I am with you now and always. I will guard you wherever you wander, and I will bring you home again. Your journey, even on lonely roads, matters to me." With each phrase, Jacob felt lighter, as if the burdens he had carried for so long were being carefully lifted and set aside by loving hands he could not see. The gentle voice continued, sharing hope not just for Jacob, but stretching forward like sunlight over a field, reaching his family and all who would come after him. It spoke of lands wide and plentiful, of belonging, and the certainty of care that would cover every day, now and forever. "I will bless those who follow after you. The ground beneath your resting place is sacred, for it is part of the promise I have made. You will have a people and a home, and through your family, all the earth will be blessed." These words glowed in Jacob's dreaming heart, as softly as the stars that filled the sky. He felt wrapped in an unshakable protection, like a sturdy shelter built by love itself. Every worry faded until there was only trust, quiet, deep, and sure. Long after the voice grew still, Jacob rested in its blessing, remembering each gentle word as a lasting comfort that would guide him wherever his path would lead. The gentle voice in Jacob's dream continued, filled with a calm certainty that brought quiet joy to his heart. It spoke with loving assurance, promising not only comfort and protection, but also hope and belonging for generations yet to come. "Jacob," the voice soothed, "the very ground beneath you, where you now rest, is precious. This land, quiet and open under the stars, will become yours, and it will remain with your children and your children's children." Each word arrived like a gentle breeze, easy to trust and soft to hold. Jacob felt this promise anchor itself inside him, giving new meaning to the place where he lay. The open field, the stone under his head, and the peaceful cloak of night now became part of something everlasting, woven into the fabric of his family's future. As the dream wrapped him in its deep calm, Jacob's spirit found peace in the understanding that he was part of a larger story. He could imagine the days to come, generations walking where he walked, planting seeds, building homes, and loving the same land that now cradled him. The promise stretched wide, comforting him with the thought that every step he took mattered, and every breath he drew blessing closer for those yet unborn. The hush of the night seemed to echo this gentle certainty, that the resting places of today would become the foundations of tomorrow. Jacob felt held in this promise, one that would last beyond him, as endless as the stars above. Even as sleep embraced him more deeply, hope and peace lingered, settling over him and the land with quiet assurance. In the gentle hush of his dream, Jacob sensed a silent invitation flowing beneath the words he heard, an invitation not spoken aloud but felt deep in his spirit. This invitation called him to trust, to lay down all the worries that had followed him across long, dusty roads, and rest in the quiet care that now surrounded him. It was the kind of trust that asks nothing in return, rising from a love too deep to be hurried or broken by time. In that moment, Jacob felt the gentle presence draw near, wrapping his heart with patient attention and promise. He understood that the care offered to him did not end with the morning or fade when he awoke. It was as steady and lasting as the earth beneath him and the sky above him. The very silence of the night seemed to hold him, cradling every hope, every fear, and every longing in a careful embrace. Jacob did not need to see the future clearly, nor did he have to know every answer. There, wrapped in calm assurance, he was invited to trust that his steps and his rest were watched over with unfailing kindness. He could let go of his burdens and allow himself to be guided forward, one small, faithful step at a time. The invitation to trust was gentle, like a river flowing unseen beneath the surface of life, always present, always nourishing, always leading him on. Even as the dream began to drift into softer images, Jacob knew in his heart that this trust could carry him through every uncertainty, every quiet night, and every day ahead. The care and attention that watched over him in this peaceful moment would remain, transcending time and reaching all who came after him. In the silence, Jacob rested with a newfound confidence, knowing he was held in a story far greater than his own, by a love that would never let him go. As the first soft hints of dawn touched the sky, Jacob's eyes fluttered open, easing him back from the world of dreams to the quiet earth beneath him. For a moment he lay still, feeling the gentle weight of his cloak and the firmness of the stone beneath his head. The air was cool and hushed, touched with the golden promise of morning, but Jacob's heart remained quiet and calm. The peace of the night still lingered in his spirit, a gentle glow that wrapped around him like a treasured memory. He remembered the dream, the glowing ladder reaching upward to the heavens, the steady procession of angels, and the quiet, loving blessing spoken over his life. All of it felt real, more real than the dust on his sandals or the ache in his muscles. It was a peace that refused to fade with the coming light, a comfort that clung like dew to his soul. Jacob did not rush to rise. He remained still, letting the last traces of the dream sink deep into his heart. All around him the world was waking slowly and gently. A bird called out from a distant tree, the breeze moved softly through wild grasses, and the first warm rays of sunlight painted the land in soft gold. Yet inside, Jacob felt as if he still carried some of the quiet wonder of the night, an assurance that he was seen, known, and blessed. The sense of being cared for, so gentle and sure in his dream, stayed with him, giving him a new kind of strength. As the world stirred to life around him, Jacob found comfort in the truth that he did not awaken alone. The memory of the dream settled on him like a quiet promise, faithful and present, ready to guide him as he moved into the new day. As Jacob slowly sat up, brushing bits of grass from his cloak, he looked at the familiar patch of ground where he had slept. In the soft light of the early morning, the earth around him seemed touched by something gentle and new. The stone that had been his pillow was smooth and strong, a silent companion in the night. The rising sun painted the fields gold, revealing the simple beauty that had been hidden in the shadows. Jacob's gaze drifted over the quiet landscape, the winding path, the distant trees, and the watchful sky. And he realized this place was more than just a resting spot along his journey. The ground beneath him, which had seemed so ordinary the night before, now felt special, wrapped in the gentle memory of his dream, and the promise that still hummed quietly in his heart. He remembered each moment of the dream with wonder, and gratitude welled up inside him. It was as if the very air around him held a special meaning, and every stone or blade of grass was marked by invisible hands of care. Jacob understood deep within that he had not been alone in the darkness. This place had been chosen for him, and had become holy in the silent hours of the night. What had first looked empty or strange now felt like a home, a space touched by kindness and watched over by a loving presence. With each breath, the land's quiet beauty seemed to whisper that he was meant to be here, that this moment held more purpose than he could see. The world around him appeared full of gentle promise, and Jacob felt a still, sweet awe as he began to rise, knowing now that some places, no matter how simple, could become sacred through the peace and presence of God. Jacob's hand came to rest gently upon the stone that had supported his head through the silent hours. Its cool surface felt smooth beneath his fingers, solid and unchanging, a humble fixture beneath the sweep of the morning sky. As he pressed his palm to the stone, he remembered how it had cradled his tired body, offering just enough support to let his spirit rest. It was not a cushion of comfort, but something steady and dependable, an anchor upon which he could rely. In the quiet after his dream, the firmness of the stone took on new meaning for Jacob. What had been just another part of the landscape now seemed marked by the mystery and comfort he had experienced through the night. The stone, silent and strong, became for him a gentle reminder of the promises whispered to him in sleep, promises as enduring as the stone itself. He sat quietly, turning the stone over in his mind as a symbol of something lasting, something deeper than passing worry or fear. The stone's steadfast presence reminded Jacob of the voice that had promised to stay with him always, and the hope of belonging that had been planted in his heart. With each breath, the stone seemed to echo those words of care and assurance, unchanging and faithful, even as the world around him shifted from night to day. In that simple, sturdy stone, Jacob found an image of God's promise, unwavering and trustworthy, able to endure any hardship or sorrow. It was more than an object beneath his head. It was a quiet witness to the dream, the blessing, and the gentle touch of the divine that had met him in the stillness. Jacob's heart softened with thankfulness, as he realized even the hardest things in his path could become a foundation upon which greater hope and faith would grow. Jacob lingered in the peaceful morning, taking time to reflect upon all that had happened during his night's rest. The journey he had traveled was long, filled with stretches of road where each step seemed ordinary, and every moment quietly slipped into the next. Yet it was in this small, unexpected pause, resting his weary body against a firm stone in what had seemed an empty field, that his soul had been awakened to wonder. As the sunlight began to stretch over the land, Jacob understood that the greatest truths often revealed themselves not in busy striving or in moments of counting miles, but in simply stopping, breathing, and becoming still. He found that, within the hush of a quiet night and the silence of a simple pause, wisdom had gently arrived. These little rests in life's journey were not empty or lost. Instead, they were doorways for grace and gentle care to enter, offering new meaning and unseen blessings to the traveler's heart. This understanding filled Jacob with humility and quiet gratitude. He thought of all the times people hurried through their days, seeking only the next destination, but missing the gentle messages that could be heard when all was still. In his pause, Jacob discovered that life's truest gifts, the whisper of hope, the feeling of sacred presence, the steadying touch of a promise, had come softly, without fanfare, in the peaceful space between one day and the next. He realized that it was good to allow room for rest, to trust in the power of stillness, and to welcome the lessons found in small, quiet places. The stone, the dream, and the calm morning together taught him that every break in the journey, no matter how brief or humble, could become a place of meeting, a place where heaven gently touched the earth and left the traveler changed, ready to walk onward with deeper faith and peace. When the morning light grew stronger and the sleepy world began to wake, Jacob rose with slow, thoughtful movements. His eyes lingered once more on the stone that had brought him comfort and rest. It was not grand or shining, yet it had become a quiet witness to his sacred dream and the tenderness he had felt through the night. Kneeling beside it, Jacob wrapped his fingers around the stone's cool, firm edges, feeling the weight and strength that now meant so much more than before. With gentle care, he lifted the stone from the earth and carried it upright, placing it where the sun's gentle rays could bathe it in warmth and light. This simple act was filled with meaning, shaping the stone into a landmark, a remembrance of the sacred encounter he had been given in this quiet corner of the land. As Jacob set the stone in place, he paused and pressed his palm against its surface, letting gratitude settle quietly in his heart. The stone now stood as a silent marker, a testimony for his own soul and for any traveler who might pass this way, that a moment of wonder and blessing had unfolded exactly here. Its presence offered a gentle encouragement to remember, to pause, and to notice grace even in the humblest places. For Jacob, the stone became a lasting reminder that every step along life's journey could be touched with purpose, and that even one night's rest on unfamiliar ground could become the beginning of hope. As the air warmed around him and the fields brightened, Jacob knew he had set apart a place where earth and heaven had met, a quiet sign to carry with him as he moved on, wrapped in the memory of peace and the promise that watched over him every day. With gentle hands and a grateful heart, Jacob gazed at the stone he had set upright, knowing it was now more than just a piece of earth. It had become a quiet altar, standing in the open field beneath the wide sky, marking the place where something holy had met him in the night. Jacob looked at its steadfast lines, remembering every feeling of comfort, every word of blessing that had cradled him as he slept. He whispered a prayer, not loud but full of gratitude, letting his thanks rise like the early morning mist. The stone did not require words or offerings carved from wealth. It asked only for a pause, a recognition of what had been given, and the unbroken presence that would stay with him. It became a witness, silent and sure, to the trust growing in Jacob's heart, a trust that would now travel with him for all his days. Around the stone, the air seemed to gently hum with the memory of dreams and promises. It became a quiet space set apart, a holy place not marked by walls or rich trappings, but by faith and gratitude. Each time Jacob glanced back at the altar, he remembered the peace that had settled over him, the way worry had softened and hope had gently taken root. The stone spoke to his spirit, a constant reminder that God's kindness could turn even the hardest places into a home for blessing. Long after Jacob would move on from this field, the altar would remain, greeting the morning sun, weathering wind and rain, collecting stories only the earth and sky could tell. Though no crowds would gather or ceremonies be held, the quiet presence of that stone carried the memory of a sacred meeting, an altar made not of gold, but of simple trust and faith. Imagine now the tender calm of the meadow where Jacob gave thanks. The grasses grew tall and gentle, their slender blades bowing softly with the passing breeze. Wildflowers, painted with the subtle colors of dawn, peeked out between stones and tufts of green. The earth was cool and slightly damp from the hush of the night, and each blade of grass seemed to cradle small drops of dew that shimmered with the sky's first light. The stones, scattered softly among the meadow's edges, were warm with recent memory and patient as they waited for the day. As you picture this peaceful field, notice how the world is quiet, but not empty. A place filled with life's softest whispers. The hush of early morning wraps every growing thing in gentle embrace, while the open sky overhead still holds the color of the fading stars, passing slowly into the gentle blue of a new day. Let your mind wander through this stillness, where every sound is a lullaby. The air carries the faint hum of insects as they greet the dawn, while a distant bird calls softly from among the branches of an old olive tree. The breeze stirs, rustling through grass and petals, its song as gentle as a mother's touch. Even the quiet movement of leaves shares a secret conversation with the sky, calming and constant, as if the earth itself were breathing in peace. It is in this meadow, open and patient, that Jacob's altar stands, a silent mark of his meeting with the holy. Here, every simple detail invites you to rest. The scent of wild thyme, the coolness of shaded stones, the warm promise of sunlight rising in the east. In the serenity of this field, you are welcome to pause and breathe, welcomed by the quiet language of creation, as the world waits and hopes with you for another gentle, hope-filled day. When the sun climbed higher in the sky and the meadow glowed with gentle light, Jacob gathered his few belongings once more. His bundle felt lighter than before, as if the worry and heaviness inside him had been quietly replaced by trust. He tightened the strap of his sandals, brushed the last traces of dew from his cloak, and took a final, thoughtful look at the stone altar standing in the stillness. The memory of his dream remained close, filling his heart with hope. Each step he prepared to take was guided by fresh courage, a new sense of connection and blessing that traveled with him. Though the road ahead was long and unknown, Jacob faced it no longer as one who wandered alone, but as one who had met kindness on the journey and chosen to carry its peace wherever he went. With each stride away from the meadow, Jacob carried faith like a quiet fire within him. The gentle promises spoken over him during the night echoed with every footfall, reminding him that no ground he would walk was truly distant from the care that watched over him. The land stretched out, full of winding paths and gentle surprises, but also the certain knowledge that Jacob moved forward held and accompanied. He pressed onward through the open country, passing groves of olive and fields of golden grain, each new sight shining with a sense of purpose. His eyes lingered on the horizon, not searching for shelter and fear, but watching with patience for the blessings that would unfold in their own time. In every moment of his journey, hope became his silent companion, and faith grew as steady as the sun, guiding Jacob to wherever his story was meant to lead. With every gentle step along the quiet path, Jacob felt the memory of his dream becoming a gentle guide for his heart. The vision of the glowing ladder and the soft voices of blessing still lingered, comforting him when uncertainty rose up or shadows stretched across the road. He understood now that it was not always necessary to see every answer or know every turn that lay ahead. The dream had shown him that true courage could exist alongside questions, and that sometimes hope is as simple as trusting the next step, even when the way is hidden in distant mist. Each time Jacob felt unsure, his thoughts returned to the steady strength of the stone, the kindness of the nighttime promise, and the peaceful company of angels in his sleep. Knowing that he was watched over, never forgotten, never left, gave him the quiet confidence to keep moving forward, one faithful stride at a time. Though the future remained wrapped in mystery, Jacob felt no need to hurry or chase after certainty. He carried the courage of his dream like a gentle light within him, enough to brighten each moment, no matter how small. The hush that had blessed the meadow now walked beside him on the open road, whispering that blessing is not always loud and obvious, but quietly builds in every act of trust. So Jacob pressed onward, not with fear, but with a hopeful heart and steady spirit, willing to greet each new day as it came. The path beneath his feet, the sky above, and the loving promise that stretched across both became his assurance. Guided by unseen hands, and confident in the care that would lift him even through shadow, Jacob moved onward with a spirit warmed by hope, a faith that would guide him gently toward whatever waited beyond the horizon. As Jacob continued his quiet journey, the image of the ladder from his dream returned again and again to his thoughts. In the stillness, he reflected on its gentle strength and glowing rungs, reaching from the soft earth where he had laid his head all the way up to the wonder of the sky above. He realized the ladder was not only a vision to comfort him, but a sign, an invitation for every heart to see that heaven and earth are not so far apart after all. The ladder stood for connection, for all the moments when the ordinary world touches the sacred. With each step, Jacob sensed how the divine could enter into daily life, whispering through a friendly breeze, a shaft of sunlight, or the silent beauty of a field at dawn. The vision of the ladder helped him to understand that the holy was not far or unreachable, but right beside him, woven quietly and surely through the journey of his days. In the gentle rhythm of walking, Jacob carried this lesson with gratitude. The ladder he had seen was a reminder, soft but steady, that life itself is filled with meeting places between the human and the divine. He began to watch more closely for these moments, the kindness of a stranger, the comfort of rest, the hope that comes just when it is needed. Each one was a step on a path that connected his heart to the mysteries above. In his spirit, Jacob found peace knowing that God's care was always near, traveling with him, and reaching down into every simple task and passing hour. As he moved through the land, he carried the memory of the ladder as a gentle encouragement to trust that his story was part of something much greater. The world, he now knew, was filled with sacred threads, binding every step, every pause, and every quiet blessing to the loving presence that watched over him and all who journeyed in faith. As Jacob traveled onward beneath the watchful sky, his story quietly reminds each listener that even when the road feels empty or the days seem plain, none of our steps are ever truly taken alone. The gentle lessons of the dream lingered in Jacob's heart, echoing softly with each footfall. God's presence is not limited to grand mountaintops or the thundering voice of miracles, but is near in every breath, every humble rest beneath a tree, and every morning where sunlight touches the land. With every pause, every turn, Jacob learned to sense the gentle company of the divine, close as the breeze brushing his face or the grass beneath his hand. These small, simple moments, made up of quiet meals, patient walking, and even silent tears, became sacred by the presence that traveled with him, knitting his journey together with invisible threads of care. For those who listen, Jacob's journey offers gentle inspiration, inviting hearts to look closely for signs of grace in the overlooked corners of daily life. It's in the softness of waking morning, in the hush of twilight, and in the rare, restful pause by the roadside that God's care so often shines through. Jacob's faith grew not because every answer was clear before him, but because he dared to trust that hope and blessing often arrive hidden in little things, a look of kindness, a meal shared, or a cool stone beneath the head. Every story, no matter how ordinary, can become a quiet meeting place between earth and heaven. So listeners, carried softly by the beauty of this ancient tale, are gently encouraged to trust that with every step, every night's rest, and every whispered hope, there is always one who walks beside them, patient, loving, and near, turning all of life's moments, simple and great, into holy ground. The gentle hush of evening settles once again, wrapping the story in its soft embrace. The land grows quiet beneath the blanket of dusk, the light slowly giving way to a cooling blue, while the first stars carefully appear overhead. There is a stillness in the world that feels sacred, as if the earth itself remembers the peace that blessed Jacob's night so long ago. Breezes whisper through waving grasses, and shadows draw long across the meadow, painting the ground with gentle shifting patterns. Even the hum of insects and the distant call of night birds add to the symphony of tranquility, lulling the land, and all who listen, into a restful calm. The day's worries become gentle thoughts, softened by the kind hand of twilight, and every sound deepens the quiet, drawing hearts into the steady rhythm of peace. Within this gentle atmosphere, the memory of Jacob's dream lingers, not loud or demanding, but as soft as a prayer offered into the night. The serenity of the field, the patience of the stone altar, and the slow journey beneath the stars all become part of this soothing story, cradled in time and held above by the caring expanse of the sky. There is no hurry here, only the invitation to rest and breathe, to let the spirit find stillness in the soft glow that stretches from horizon to horizon. As the night deepens and the world grows dim, a quiet assurance settles over everything, a silent promise that peace remains, steady and true, touching every traveler, every field, and every shining star. The heart of the story beats slowly, inviting every listener to surrender for a while, to close their eyes and let the calm, like a gentle whisper, carry them toward a deep and restful sleep. Even as the dream faded softly from memory, the sky above Jacob remained bright with quiet wonder. The night stretched wide and open, brushed with the glow of countless stars that shimmered patiently, each one shining as if it carried a message of gentle hope. The moon hung with silent pride, surrounded by the delicate patterns of light weaving across the high heavens. It was a sky as old as time itself, watching over Jacob and every traveler before and after him. In its endless silence, the sky seemed to promise that, even when special moments become distant memories, the blessings they bring remain, a thread of faith connecting the past, the present, and all the days to come. The vastness overhead was not empty, but alive with the quiet promise of care, each star a soft echo of the words Jacob had heard in his dream. As dawn slowly approached, painting the horizon with a new and gentle glow, the sky's serene beauty lingered, a sign that hope and promise endure, steady and unbroken through every season. Jacob felt the comfort of that shining dome above, recalling how the holy had touched his life in the hush of one silent night. No matter where his path would lead from that moment on, the sky would remain, a reminder that God's faithfulness endures long after every dream is spent. The same sky that watched over Jacob would greet each new day, holding stories of peace and blessing for any heart willing to notice. With the sky still shining quietly above, the land below rested in promise. And every listener who hears Jacob's story is gently reminded that there is always light, always love, and always the gentle whisper of an eternal promise above every journey. As Jacob's story lingers in the quiet of this night, its lesson shines most clearly in the small, gentle rhythms of daily life. Faith, he discovered, is not found only in grand dreams or powerful visions, but in the little moments, a pause between footsteps, the silence before sleep, or the quiet watching of stars overhead. The act of resting his head on a simple stone, the folding of his travel-worn cloak, and the careful gathering of his bundle at dawn all became silent prayers. Each small action, done with humble trust, was a way of saying yes to the mystery of life and to the loving care that filled even the plainest days. Jacob's journey reminds all who listen that faith often blooms quietly, taking root in places and times overlooked by the rushing world outside. In these moments of stillness and reflection, faith grows sturdy and deep. It waits with us in silence, in the hush of early morning or the calm that follows a busy afternoon. It is the steadying hand laid on a trembling heart when worries gather, and the whisper that invites us to trust, even when we cannot see all that lies ahead. The power of faith is not always in rushing forward or seeking quick answers, but in becoming still, watching and listening for the gentle presence that moves through all things. When we choose to pause, to rest, to breathe, to notice the soft glow of a star or the quiet firmness of a stone, we invite faith to enter, shaping our days with hope and quiet promise. Through these little moments, lived simply and with care, every life can be woven with the touch of the holy, turning the ordinary into a place of wonder and gentle blessing. As Jacob's journey unfolds beneath ancient skies and across fields brushed by gentle winds, his story whispers a timeless truth, that God's presence is not distant or hard to find, but is woven into the fabric of daily life. The Creator's gentle touch glows in every sunrise that warms the land, and lingers in the quiet beauty of evenings when stars quietly appear overhead. Whether Jacob was walking dusty paths, pausing to sip cool water from a spring, or staring up at the endless sky, he learned that the holy could be found in the smallest detail. Each blade of grass, each stone beneath his feet, and each gentle gust of wind became a reminder that the world itself is a place alive with God's care. For Jacob, even the most familiar routines, a meal eaten in silence, clothing tied tight against the morning breeze, or the act of choosing where to rest, became ways of saying thank you for a presence that never left his side. The story invites all who listen to do the same, to look for moments of wonder in the patterns of their own days, and to honor the beauty of the world around them. Every sunrise, every blooming wildflower, and every quiet pause between tasks is a chance to feel the nearness of something loving and good. Faith does not always arrive in a voice or a vision. It comes softly, walking with us in the gentle shape of our ordinary hours. The more Jacob noticed this, the more grateful and peaceful his heart became, because he knew he was not walking alone. In nature's small gifts and the quiet rhythm of his routine, he discovered a steady, faithful presence, one that turned commonplace moments into holy ground. By pausing to recognize God's goodness in all things, Jacob's life was filled with peace and gentle awe, and this peace, like the memory of his dream, could sustain him through every step of his journey. As the sky slowly brightened and the cool shadows of night slipped peacefully away, Jacob opened his eyes and gently stretched awake. The air was fresh and mild, carrying the soft scent of dewy grass and wild thyme, whispering a new beginning. For a few quiet moments, he simply listened, heard the reassuring rhythm of insects welcoming the dawn, and the distant notes of a bird singing among the branches. The world felt new, tenderly painted in the golden light of early morning, and Jacob's heart was quiet and grateful. With a deep, thoughtful breath, he welcomed the day, Feeling the warm promise of hope settled gently inside. Everything around him glowed with a sense of calm, and though his journey was not finished, the burdens he carried felt lighter, as if the peace from his dream would walk beside him always. Jacob stood and gathered his belongings, folding his cloak and placing it carefully in his bundle. He touched the stone he had set upright, pausing in silent thanks for the guidance and blessing of the night. A quiet joy bubbled up as he looked out across the open land, warmed by the gentle rays of early sunlight, and his spirit filled with serene hope. Each step he took on the soft earth echoed with confidence, a trust that every new day brought fresh chances for kindness, understanding, and connection with the sacred heartbeat of the world. Though the road ahead remained long and uncertain, Jacob's heart was steady, ready to greet whatever waited just beyond the horizon. With patient steps and a grateful soul, he moved forward, cradled by the memory of divine presence, and carried gently into the beauty and promise of a brand new day. Let your mind linger for a moment in the gentle simplicity of Jacob's morning. The world around him was quiet and unhurried, the air filled with the faint, comforting scent of grass and earth. Dew still clung to each blade, catching the soft light and sparkling like tiny jewels. In those first peaceful moments after waking, nothing called for hurry or concern. The only task was to breathe, to notice the warmth beginning to touch his face and the coolness of the ground beneath his feet. The birds sang their simple thanks above, and each sound, each breath was a reminder that peace was not far, but waiting quietly in the gentle beginnings of the day. Jacob's body stretched easily in the fresh air, and with every long, thoughtful inhale, he let his cares drift softly away, giving himself permission just to rest, to be present, and to greet the morning with a calm and open heart. For everyone listening, let this memory be a gentle invitation to set aside worry for a while and simply breathe. Notice the breath moving in and out, slow and steady, carrying calm to every part of your being. Imagine sunlit grass beneath you, the chorus of birdsong overhead, and the earth holding you in its patient embrace. There is nothing to rush, nowhere to be, but in this quiet space. Let your shoulders relax, letting go of the burdens that so often weigh down thoughts. Each slow breath pulls in new hope and releases gentle contentment, as if the peace that settled over Jacob so long ago lingers, eager to rest upon you as well. In these simple, restful moments, embrace the softness of being alive and cared for, knowing that stillness is a gift, and that even the most ordinary dawn can carry the promise of peace and renewal. Jacob's journey resumed with a spirit both gentle and sure. His steps pressed softly into the earth, each one a quiet testament to the peace that now filled his heart. The day was young, and the world around him moved with an easy patience, every living thing finding its place in the rhythm of morning. As he walked, Jacob felt the curve of the land beneath his feet, the dust of ancient paths rising gently and swirling with each stride. He paused often to look at the beauty around him. The low, rolling hills dressed in wildflowers, the distant shape of olive trees stretching toward the sun, and the long shadows cast by the morning light. Every detail seemed touched by calm, inviting him to walk slowly and notice the gifts of each simple moment. With every step, he remembered the kindness of the night before, the presence and promises that turned even the most ordinary road into a pathway of comfort and hope. The peace inside Jacob flowed outward, steadying his movements and giving him quiet confidence. There was no reason to rush, for he trusted the journey and the hand that guided him forward. His heart was unhurried, open to small surprises along the way, the joyful flutter of a bird's wings, the gentle murmur of a brook hidden beyond the grass, the cool shade that waited beneath a welcoming tree. He felt strong, not because the way was easy, but because the calm he carried moved with him, easing his mind and blessing each mile. Jacob's journey was not just about moving from one place to another. It became about learning to walk in peace, to travel gently, and to savor the steady unfolding of each new day. As he moved forward through the soft embrace of the morning, his slow, steady pace became a quiet celebration, a way of thanking the world for its beauty and thanking the Holy for every step made safe by love. Picture for a moment the gentle feel of Jacob's simple clothes as he walked through the quiet fields. His tunic, woven by familiar hands, was soft and loose, wrapping him in comfort without fuss or weight. The fabric held the memory of home and the care of those who had prepared it just for him. With each movement he felt the gentle touch of linen against his skin, easy and light, allowing him to breathe deeply and move freely through the open land. His sandals, though worn from long journeys, fit his feet well, offering just enough protection from the pebbles, yet letting him feel the connection with the earth below. Each step was a reminder that comfort did not need to be grand or costly. It was found in the humble gifts that served him each day with quiet faithfulness. Breathe in the air as Jacob did that morning, filled with the fresh, earthy scent of damp soil and growing grass. The dew on the ground carried the pure aroma of early hours, clean and renewing, while every exhale drew forth a sense of possibility and peace. The warmth of the sun began to rise gently, not hot or harsh, but as a soft golden blanket laid over Jacob's shoulders and the land around him. It seeped through the fabric of his clothes, loosening the last chill of night and inviting a sense of calm strength with every ray. There, in the mingled embrace of comfort, aroma, and sunlight, Jacob found a deep contentment. He felt cared for and at home, even on the road, because every detail, the simplest clothes, the smell of the earth, and the tender warmth of the rising sun, delivered a quiet blessing to his heart, reminding him that peace could always be known wherever the day might lead. As Jacob continued his peaceful journey, a deep sense of respect for creation grew within him. Every living thing seemed to belong to the same gentle story. The slow-moving beetles that wandered along the path, the wildflowers brushing his ankles with bursts of soft color, and the small birds singing from the shelter of ancient trees. Jacob observed their simple ways and noticed how each one found its own rhythm beneath the sky, a silent trust in the day and the care that nature faithfully provided. He realized that the world did not hurry from one moment to the next. Instead, it moved with patience and purpose, each creature doing just what it was made to do. This understanding gently shaped Jacob's heart, inviting him to walk with care, his steps light upon the earth, and his spirit full of thanks for the gift of life that surrounded him. Along the path, Jacob paused to notice the little things, a green leaf swaying in the wind, a ripple across the surface of a nearby pool, the distant bleat of a sheep calling to its mother across a quiet pasture. With every careful look, his appreciation for life deepened, and he felt a quiet desire to protect and honor everything living, no matter how small. Even the rocks and trees, sturdy and silent in the sunlight, felt like old friends, holding stories from long before his own travels began. In caring for his surroundings, Jacob found that he was caring for himself too, for his heart grew softer and more at peace with every gentle touch and thoughtful pause. Surrounded by the beauty of creation, Jacob's journey became more than a walk from place to place. It became a practice of gratitude, a gentle song of harmony with the life and love that filled the world, and a hope that those who walked after him would continue to cherish and respect the earth with the same gentle spirit. As Jacob's journey gently unfolded, he learned the quiet wisdom of rest, and how it could renew not just his weary body, but his spirit as well. Some days brought long stretches beneath the hot sun, or hours when the road seemed to wind endlessly through fields and over hills. Yet Jacob came to understand that true strength was not found in trying to rush through each moment. Instead, he discovered the gift of pausing, of listening to his heart and honoring his need for gentle rest. Whether it was the comfort of shelter beneath a shading tree, or the simple act of closing his eyes for a moment, Jacob allowed himself to breathe out his worries and welcome the quiet kindness of peaceful stillness. With every pause, he found the courage to continue, refreshed and strengthened from deep within, ready to greet the next steps with new hope. Jacob's calm reflection showed him that renewal comes softly, like dew on the morning grass or the gentle colors of dawn. Rest was not simply stopping, but opening his heart to receive the blessing of quiet moments. In those peaceful pauses, the world itself seemed to offer healing. A whisper of wind, the gentle hum of life, and the hush of shadows stretching gently across the ground. These times of rest reminded Jacob that everyone, no matter how brave or strong, needs times to let go, to close their eyes, and to remember that they do not journey alone. As he moved on, Jacob carried this calm wisdom with him. That true renewal is found not just in reaching the end of the road, but in cherishing every quiet moment along the way, allowing the spirit to be restored by the loving presence that follows each traveler, step by gentle step. As the story of Jacob's journey draws to a close, let the spirit of calm and gentle assurance rest quietly upon your heart. Every path in life winds through days of sunlight and shadows, through moments of sure direction and times when the way ahead is hidden from view. Yet just as Jacob discovered in the stillness of night and the quiet gold of morning, a deeper peace is always waiting for those who pause to listen. That peace is not fleeting or fragile, it is steady, held together by an invisible thread that connects each traveler, each step, to a presence greater than themselves. It is a peace that wraps around us in silence, guiding and protecting, whispering softly that no one walks alone. Even in our most ordinary hours, there is a gentle watchfulness, a company of hope and care, that travels with us, bringing comfort, encouragement, and the gentle reminder that we are always held. So as you prepare to rest, may the same gentle assurance that blessed Jacob settle softly in your spirit. Let your heart believe in the promise of lasting peace, and the steadfast presence that walks beside you, seen or unseen, in every season of your life. Whatever journey lies ahead, whether you greet it with joy or approach it with quiet concern, know that you are known, cherished, and accompanied by kindness older than the hills and more faithful than the sunrise. In this calm, surrender every worry to the hush of the night, and allow the certainty of not being alone fill you with comfort. Let your soul rest, breathing in the gentle peace that has watched over travelers for generations. Under the same wide sky that kept Jacob, may you find your own place of assurance, and may the gentle blessing of presence and peace remain with you now and always. As the quiet story settles to its end, let a gentle blessing drift softly over your heart and mind. May silence wrap you gently tonight, the hush of peace settling like a comforting blanket over all your cares. Let every breath grow slower, every worry lighter, as sleep begins to gather around you. May the kindness that watched over Jacob on quiet hills and beneath starry skies draw just as near to you. Under the shadow of your roof or wherever you find rest, may you sense the closeness of a steady presence, patient and kind, holding you in gentle care. Let the troubles of the day slip quietly away, replaced by the calm of knowing you are sheltered, guarded, and deeply loved. May your night be peaceful and your dreams sweet, filled with soft images of quiet fields, caring voices, and steady hope like stars that never fade. May the warmth of assurance, light as a whisper, touch your spirit and lead you into gentle sleep. As you close your eyes, may you carry with you the blessing of calm and the promise that each new morning holds fresh grace and gentle beginnings. Rest tonight as Jacob once did, wrapped in the care that will watch over you in darkness and daylight. May your heart find comfort, your soul find stillness, and your dreams be as serene and full of hope as a star-lit sky in the quiet lands of long ago, high above the earth. The night sky stretches wide and gentle, stitched with thousands of quiet stars. Each one glimmers softly, like a lantern carried lovingly across the heavens, shining with an old, patient wisdom. In the darkness, these lights form secret patterns, silent stories that have watched over travelers for countless ages. They keep their patient watch as the world sleeps, sending down a tender glow that touches every field, every roof, and every heart seeking rest. The hush between the stars is not empty, but filled with a deep, warm peace, like an embrace that can never be undone. It is as if the sky holds close the dreams of all who have passed beneath it, gathering hopes and gentle prayers into the safe cradle of eternity. Tonight, as the stars twinkle far above, imagine their light weaving softly around you, like a poem of comfort and quiet wonder. Let yourself feel the ancient love that lingers in their patient shining, a love that asks nothing but to keep watch, steady and true. In this quiet hour, may you sense the kindness held in the stillness between the stars, a promise as old as the world, gentle as a lullaby, and boundless as the night itself. With each slow breath, let this peace fill you, knowing that wherever you are and wherever you go, the starry sky remains. The gentle guardian, keeping the secrets of unending love, lighting your dreams, and blessing your sleep until the dawn returns once more. Now, as the gentle story comes to its quiet ending, let each word become a soft invitation for your mind to rest and your heart to find deep tranquility. Lay aside the worn thoughts of the day, letting them float away like petals upon a slow-moving stream. There is nothing more you need to carry. No challenge you must solve before sleep. Instead, welcome the silence that now settles in the room. A silence both warm and tender, much like the hush that embraced Jacob beneath his sacred sky. Breathe in the calm, letting it fill your chest and soften your spirit, and as you breathe out, imagine cares dissolving into the gentle darkness. Close your eyes and sense the comfort that wraps around you, holding you safe, easing each muscle, every worry, and every restless thought. In this peaceful moment, know that rest is a gift, a chance to let go, if only for a night, and be nourished by silence and kindness. Trust that you are cherished, watched over, and gently guided, just as Jacob was so long ago. Let your body grow heavy, your breaths become slow, and your heart turn quiet like still water under a starlit sky. Allow sleep to come, milky and sweet, bringing you dreams of gentle fields, caring voices, and hope always waiting on the horizon. May the night cradle you in its cool, peaceful arms, whispering soft promises of renewal and love. When the morning finds you, may you awaken filled with calm strength and a spirit refreshed by the tranquility you held through the night. For now, simply rest and know that you are deeply at peace, sheltered and blessed. As a gentle story closes and night drifts in like a healing song,